Whatever I do, I have to look presentable and proper. Hello, history lovers and fans of Nerds Make Media's YouTube channel, and those of you who aren't yet fans, I hope you'll subscribe. So recently, just yesterday, I think, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, gave a big speech to all the generals in the universe. Part of that speech, he said that he didn't want to see any fat soldiers or fat generals around the Pentagon anymore. And they're all, well, here's what he said. Listen for yourself.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
I am making this video to remind Secretary Hegseth and all of you watching that American history is full of examples of very good generals who were overweight, or as he so boorishly put it, fat. The picture behind me is an artist rendering of an ox team hauling cannon towards Boston. This operation was the brainchild of Henry Knox, who would serve as the chief of artillery for all of George Washington's campaigns during the Revolutionary War. Now, look at this picture of Henry Knox. Not exactly a thin man, but a hero of American history. The Continental Army had the British under siege in Boston, but they didn't have enough cannon. So Knox came up with this operation idea to go to Fort Ticonderoga, 300 miles away, to bring 60 tons of cannon and munitions that they captured there at another battle, all the way to Boston. He went himself, although he was overweight. Let's not call him fat. And these were very helpful in that siege. Also serving during the Revolutionary War was William Smallwood, an American soldier and politician. He was also governor of Maryland for a while. He was also a slaveholder. He served in the American Revolutionary War. He became a major general. During the Battle of Brooklyn on August 27th, 1776, the Maryland Regiment heroically covered the hasty retreat of the routed Continental Army, and George Washington promoted Smallwood to brigadier general. If you take a look at a picture of Smallwood painted by Charles Willson Peale, you'll see he was a little bit of a chubby fellow. But I suppose Hegseth would throw him out if he saw him walking down the halls of the Pentagon. Let's move forward to General Winfield Scott, who was recognized as a hero of the war with Mexico and also helped establish the Union Army at the beginning of the Civil War. Winfield Scott was, especially at that time during the Civil War, was a bit of a chubby fellow, and he was in his 80s. I wonder if Secretary Hegseth would have made him do push-ups or pull-ups in front of him to prove that he was worthy of the command of the Union Army at that time. Because everyone knows that brawn equals brains, right? Also in the American Civil War was the chubby George Henry Thomas, just look at that picture of him, called the Rock of Chickamauga. I don't think they called him the Rock of Chickamauga just because he was a little overweight. It was because of his actions during the war. Let's move forward to World War I. Here's a picture of Hunter Liggett. Hunter Liggett was a general during the Second Battle of the Marne, and he also helped to reduce the St. Mihiel salient. In October of 1918, as commander of the 1st United States Army with the rank of lieutenant general in the National Army, he directed the final phases of the Meuse-Argonne offensive and pursued the German forces until armistice. Now, Would Secretary Hegseth approve of Hunter Liggett? Look at this picture of him standing beside his colleagues. He's a little bit overweight. Finally, let's go forward to the Gulf War, first Iraq War. Do you remember General Norman H. Schwarzkopf? He was not a very thin man, but he was a general and generally considered to be successful in his career and in the way he carried out the 1991 Gulf War. The history of the American military is replete with many overweight generals who performed very well. Being physically fit and thin does not necessarily mean that you are going to be an effective leader. The message for all of these generals that I have mentioned and the pictures that you've seen to Secretary Hegseth is, why don't you just take a nice long run, a vigorous run off of a short pier?